G'day and welcome to Aussie I'm Dale, and welcome to another episode of the Aussie podcast. Now, this is the first one for 2026, and now there's not a lot going on in the Eurovision world at the moment, but there are some national final songs and artists that are being announced, and that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, to start with, Mike's going to join the podcast again to give his verdict and judgment on national final songs, and we're going to be looking at a few of the ones from Luxembourg. Then Kyriakos is going to join us to talk about ESC250, which is the massive fan poll that's done every New Year's Eve of the top 250 Eurovision songs of all time. And we're going to talk about the results of that. And we're going to talk about the Greek national final and the artists who have been announced for that. Kyriakos knows everything about Greece, trust me, so that's worth listening out for. We're getting quite excited about the Greek national final, so yeah, watch out for that one. Without further ado, let's crack on with the show. All right, well, welcome to our not-so-special guest, Mike, the regular on the podcast and host for many years, but you're just a bit of a part-timer now, aren't you?
Yes, come zooming in whenever required.
Yep. And so as part of the season and what we did last season with you as well was you come and listen to songs that are in the national finals that fans are talking about and you give your view because you're not really in the community as much.
No. So very much like the ones we're about to talk about, I did not listen to until, I had to make notes about them. So, yeah.
All right, well, let's get your verdict on some of these. And we're going to start with Luxembourg with Prison d'Or.
Prison d'Or.
All right, well, Luxembourg was in it last year, Mike.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you remember, but
No.
what did you... You think you don't remember the Luxembourg Song Contest of 2025?
No.
What did you make of this?
Yeah, this one's a bit interesting, isn't it? My first note here is that it has some interesting elements. Now, I think I've written elements because it can be a little maybe disjointed as well, could come across. I think it's very intriguing, and for me, it will depend on the performance. Yeah.
I don't know, like there's something, do you know what this reminded me of? A little bit of the kind of same bracket of The Code
Okay.
of Nemo, this kind of, even a little bit of, think about The Code, think about JJ Wasted Love. There's this kind of like genre coming out of like, I don't know, Central Europe at the moment, which is there's this like drama, it slows down to nothing, then builds up and goes whack. I'm not saying that it's the same. I just feel like this is, someone's heard those songs, made a song for him, and it just feels a bit formulaic, even though I still think it is probably one of the best songs in this contest.
Formulaic? I put schizophrenic. There are different styles in there, which does give it sort of a natural peaks and troughs and natural variety, but it's almost too whiplash at times. Like, it just goes, for me, for example, the rap part feels the most authentic and feels the most genuine. I actually quite like that part. But then we get to the hard techno part, which gives it drama, etc. But I feels like they're two different, very, very different songs. And for example, when we look at that, don't forget, Belgium fell at the first hurdle with Red Sebastian with that hard techno sound. So I don't know if they're going down the right track on this one.
Yeah, I guess when I sort of say formulaic, I don't mean in a kind of Melfest, verse, chorus, blah, blah, blah. I probably mean like what we've been hearing, and those are a couple of songs I'm using as an example, is this type of approach. Okay, we're going to put this rap and we're going to put this techno dance.
Sort of genre smashing of things,
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah. And just not done quite as well. But I still think there's something here, right?
There is something here, and I think it's probably the live performance that needs to bring it together. Even if this was to go to Eurovision, I just can't imagine it doing very well. Like, what, a jury's going to go for this? No, they're not. And I think it's just too weird for the general public as well. Like, it's not a bad song, but I just don't know if it's very cohesive in a competition sense.
It could be an interesting one where maybe, I'm second guessing here a little bit, but like maybe, let's say at Luxembourg Song Contest, it's the best in that contest, but it may be not the best song to send to Eurovision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't want to preempt about any of the other songs, but yeah, I don't know if this one's in the running. I'm not sure. I'd think twice about sending it, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad song.
Okay, no worries. Well, let's go on to the next one.
All right.
We're going to talk about Darius with her song Melosina.
Comme l'eau, je vais puis reviens. Comme l'eau, comme l'eau, comme l'eau, je me souviens. Comme l'eau, comme l'eau, comme l'eau, je vais puis reviens.
All right, what did you think of this one?
A bit of chanson, haven't we? You know, like it feels like that typical chanson genre, but then they've tried to give it a bit of a modern and dramatic twist. Probably as modern as you could make this kind of genre. You know, for me, they have pumped up the production in certain places, which gives a little more variety and variation than your average chanson. But really, what's underneath the cover is what's underneath the cover. Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like I've heard this all before. And this is just like lightweight Barbara Pravi at best. Like there's just, I'm sick of this. We had the Junior Eurovision song winner was basically a little Barbara Pravi, and that was probably better than this. It's all very fine. It's all very good. And maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I would have just got a bit more excited and really enjoyed it. But I was just like, oh, really? Yep. Another one of these? I'm a bit over it. And I love a French chanson ballad.
Yeah, I look, I'm going to have to agree. I very much rolled my eyes once this kind of got going. And I've got to ask that question, is this type of musical style relevant anywhere else except for the Eurovision sphere? You know what I mean? Like, who's listening to this type of music? It just feels very unoriginal. You know, very, very unoriginal. Look, there's probably a couple of points you can give it above vocal lift, and perhaps some, you know, good presentation here might lift the whole thing, because God help it needs it. I'm sorry. It just feels a little old-fashioned and flimsy.
There is always a market for this, though. People do seem to like this sort of stuff. I'm just thinking, let's think about like Eurovision as well. Like the first one we heard before is more of a risk, but maybe more reward. This is maybe a safer pair of hands and could, with a good vocal performance, scrape into a grand final with jury and some public love?
Possibly. I don't think juries go for this as much as people think sometimes. Yes, Barbara Pravi was amazing and that was a different sphere. But, I mean, if you look at France last year, people were thinking that could have done really, really well in the jury. It kind of flopped.
It did okay. I wouldn't say flops a bit hard. What about Zoe?
Some people were thinking that, you know, like she could have been a jury winner, etc.
Yeah,
but it just didn't. It didn't go anywhere. And I just think, yeah, they've got a song. They thought, we don't want to sound too much like France, so let's give it a bit of production. And it just ends up sounding like France, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, out of those two ones, so those were the top two in the Eurovision team rankings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any guesses of what was the number one?
No, look, I'd hope they went for Prison Doré.
They did.
Because it's got at least some sort of originality to it. Yeah.
It was actually a tie in points, but Luzak's song had more, 12, so he came on top. But those top two, they were the top two of the Eurovision team rankings.
I don't know what that says about the rest of the selection, but, you know, that's interesting.
All right. Well, look, we've got the other songs that we will be going. There's 2 more songs that you're going to be judging on the Patreon. So if you want to hear
loose a little more on that one, will I?
This is a sanitized version. If you want to hear what Mike has to say about those, we'll have the details in the show notes. But thanks for giving your opinions on those 2 songs.
Yes. Well, I wish I could have been a bit more positive, but thanks for having me.
Now, if you do want to tune into the Patreon episode where you can hear Mike say things such as,
how long were they away for? 38 years? Something? Go away again. Is this a joke? Is this satire? No, is it?
Then go to the link in the show notes. Okay, joining us on the podcast is Kyriakos from the Aussie Vision team. Welcome back to the podcast, Kiri.
Hi, I'm back. can't get rid of me.
Exactly. So for those who don't know, Kyriakos, who's been with us for many years, had a bit of a season off, even though you were a bit of a guest last year on the podcast and with some other Eurovision part, but you had your kind of year off and you're refreshed and you've come back for more.
Yeah, totally. I think I gave myself not even a year. It ended up being just 10 months, but I just couldn't leave, and just glad to be back into my old roles, helping out here and there where I can. But I think I just needed that break. A little refresh was what I needed to get back into the contest.
Yeah, and coming back to the contest in the state it is now, but let's not go there.
Yes, well.
Into the fire. Right, but we're going to talk about ESC250 first. Now, this is something we covered last week. It's something that I know you're across. You've got all the stats and everything. So we're going to have a discussion about it. But before we do, who won the ESC250 this year, Kyriakos?
It's the Queen of Eurovision, Loreen, with Euphoria.
All right, she takes it out again. She's won it a lot of times, hasn't she?
She is unstoppable, as Conchita, I think, has said in the past. Loreen's just unbeatable. A record-breaking 12 years, non-consecutive years at the top, and can't get rid of her. But when it comes to the fandom, they do love Euphoria.
And it's quite interesting because there's obviously a lot of recency bias, but people go to Euphoria. Now, we've seen a couple of songs knock her off, Slow Mo in the past in 2022 and Cha 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 in 2023, but she's come back and won it 2 years in a row, not with Tattoo, but with the song from back in 2012. Like, what's going on? Why do people love it so much?
There's obviously something that resonates with Euphoria that people just associate with Eurovision, and just probably more with Loreen herself as well. Like, she's taking up the top two spots. When you think about it, they should cancel each other out a little bit. But no, she's got, Euphoria number one, Tattoo number two. You can't stop her. And let's see in the future if someone can like take her down again. But for now, she's at top and she's sitting there quite comfortably.
Yeah, I'm really quite pleased that she, like the 2012 with Euphoria won. And I think it's because it changed the game at the time. It was just so out there. You could introduce that now and it would sound modern and fresh for 2025, 2026. So, and Tattoo is amazing. Like, we love Tattoo so much. I probably now love Tattoo a bit more, but I think for a content, like a countdown, a fan vote that looks at the best Eurovision songs of all time, for something like that to win, I think it makes sense. Now, okay, so we had Loreen in the top two. Were there any surprises after that?
Yeah, I think when it came to 2025's Eurovision entrance, seeing the Albanian entry get to number 3 and being the top one of 2025 was quite a surprise, actually. Very popular with the fandom.
Yeah, I know Twitter loves it and I know the young folk love it. And I love the song Sherm. It's amazing, but I would never put it in my kind of top 10. But people really went for this to come third place and knock off things like Cha 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 and Slow Mo to get into that podium position. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised to see it in the top 10, but that high, wow. I don't think it'll be that high next year.
Yeah, and above Butter Butter Bastu as well. That was quite a surprise. So.
And I mean, the rest of there was a few in the top 10 that I thought, wow, you've actually stayed on another year, like Marina Sati from Greece. She was in the top 10 for 2 years running.
Yeah, she only went down one spot, so there's still love for her there. There was a noticeable success with like Greek entries, so there might have been some some fandom pushing a little bit harder from some sectors of the fandom there. But yeah, she still is sticking around as well.
Yeah, and I think there was actually a lot of Swedish entries this year, I noticed as well. You often see fans from certain countries or certain songs that they go for to get up in the countdown. It just always happens. What about the Australian entries? How did we fare?
Yeah, so we've still got 3 in the 250. We got Dami Im, who sat at 83, Camilla Heike at 222, and the Voyager 151. But obviously Gina G, who's infamous Australian, who with just a little bit, actually made a big jump. I think she jumped like 48 places, and got her peak number ever in the countdown at 33. She previously was 38 in 2020, so she's doing really well. Who knows? At that rate, we might see her in the top 20 next year. Who knows?
I would love to see it. I love a bit of Gina. And look, it's going to be the 30-year anniversary, 2026. I mean, bring it back for an interval act. I don't even know what she's doing these days.
I know, we have to track her down and get her to do something.
we 100% do. Actually, that's our mission this year. We're going to track down Gina G for Eurovision. All right. Well, look, ESC250 for another year. That was absolutely fantastic. But look, what you are very well known for, Kiri, is your love of Greek entries over the year. And we are going to be talking about Greece because they released their artists for their national final this week.
Yes. And 28 of them as well, which is quite a few. But they announced Sing for Greece, Ethnikos Telikos. They'll be having 2 semi-finals with 14 artists and entries in each one. And out of those, 14 will go to the final. And that's set to take place in February sometime. But out of those, there's actually some quite notable artists and a very big Eurovision artist, I guess, in a way, for Greece, coming back.
I think it's one of my favourite entries of all time. It's from 2013, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's at Cosa Mostra with Alcohol is Free, which Dal loves to play at Eurovision parties pretty hard.
So, yeah, they're coming back. So that's a band, though, isn't it? It's a band. It obviously looks a little bit different than 2013. And we've had a snippet of their songs come through as well, haven't we?
Yeah, and the song's quite different from Alcohol is Free. Obviously, that old man that was there in 2013, he's no longer around, passed away in 2020. But yeah, a very different feel from them this time around. But yeah, who knows what impact they would have.
And just coming back to the show overall, look, I think they did the national final last year. It was a straight final. There was no semis, right?
Yes.
And a lot less artists.
And a lot less artists. I think like just double their artists. I really think they got excited by the result in 2025 and finishing 6th. I think was quite unexpected, but also like there was a lot of love for Astromata as well. I think there was lots of factors. Maybe it was like one of the bigger Balkan entries that was left in the final, and that was probably part of its advantage for doing well. But yeah, I think they got really excited with that, and we're seeing some actual like proper interest from the Greek broadcaster and from the fandom there, which actually in a way is a good thing for them and exciting to see.
Yeah, because, I mean, they've really turned it around. Like, obviously they used to be an absolute powerhouse, Greece. And then that kind of latter half of the 2010s, it all just fell apart. Few NQs are only about 19th, 20 there for a while. But then in the 2020s, they've just been consistently kind of in that, 6th, 11th part, except for the NQ in 2023. But other than that, they've been really building, it feels. Like, is it... What's the feeling like in Greece, do you know? Because obviously I know you follow the music industry there a lot. Is Eurovision now in vogue, as you're saying, for some artists to come back into because of what we saw last year in the build-up over the last few years?
I definitely saw, especially with Marina Sati and then this year as well, there was a lot of talk from my friends and family asking me, like, "Oh, did you hear this Eurovision entry?" I'm like, "What? That's what I usually ask you if you've heard about what Greece is sending." And then obviously then Klavdia came here to Australia, and there was like quite a lot of love for her, and lots of people that I wouldn't expected talking about Eurovision, just talking about how proud they were with the result that she got. So they really have built up a momentum, and let's hope we get back to Greece in the golden years, I like to call it, back in the 2000s when they were like a powerhouse back then.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of great artists amongst these 28. We've talked about the former Eurovision entry, that's from 2013, but there's a few that have come back from last year's national final as well. Yeah,
we have the runner-up, Vangelia, who last year was beaten just by 2 points by Klavdia with her banger Vale. And also Dianamis and Ricky is back. Ricky was one with the elevator song, which I think everyone's forgotten about. But I do have to say there is an artist that's getting a lot of talk within the community and the Greek Eurovision fandom. It's Good Job Nikki. He's one, I reckon, to watch out for. He's an artist that has been requesting to represent Greece for many years now. He's only been on the music scene, I'm pretty sure, from 2020, if I'm not wrong. He used to have blue hair. Now I think he just has bleached hair. And a lot of his songs are sung in English, but back in 2024, when he wanted to represent Greece, he said to the Greek broadcaster that he is going there to either get a top 5 finish or victory and nothing else. So a very confident competitor there. So Evangelia, watch out.
Oh, well, look, you know how much I loved Evangelia last year. That was my favorite. I was devastated for her. But maybe it's going to end up being okay because I've heard this snippet of her song and it sounds really good. But I mean, it's a snippet, right? So I don't want to get too excited.
Yeah, I love the snippet too, I have to say. There are 10 composers behind it. It sounds like maybe the song must have gone through a bit of a journey, but let's pray that it's a banger.
It's going to be one of those songs that's going to be like, it took 10 people to write that? Seriously? But sometimes they are the best songs. You never know.
Exactly.
Good job, Nikki. Actually, it's really interesting you said that. I didn't know anything about that, but when I had a quick listen to the snippets, he jumped out for sure. So that's really interesting. It's going to be something you just don't know, right? It's until we hear the full songs or something. Snippets are nothing, but I am certainly excited about Evangelia. But I'm excited about the national final. Like as we've seen a lot of countries move away from it, I think it's so important, to get the view of the public. We miss Australia Decides here so much, and it made such a big difference. But let's hope it wasn't just like that big sort of win last year and doesn't drop, that it actually builds up again, because I think it would be fantastic to see Greece back up towards the top again.
Yeah, I hope so too. And last year they had Sakis Rouvas and Elena Paparizou host, which to me, as a Eurovision fan, that's a big deal. So hopefully we see something like that again this year. I'm sure they have something special planned. The only thing, Greeks, if you're listening, please make it run a bit more smoother and quicker. That's the only advice I give.
I was about to say, there's some things from last year I'm happy to keep like the host, but that show was interesting. Look, we've watched a lot of national finals and a lot from the Balkans, and they can run a bit interestingly. But even for that, what was that hall as well? It looked like some community hall, no offense. And it ran very long and a bit clunky, but the music was good.
Yeah, overall, I personally enjoy the show. But yes, let's hope that they've made some improvements and maybe a bit of a glow up this year. Let's hope so.
Oh, it could be a 12-hour show of just nonstop anything, and you would love it, Kyriakos. You are too biased with it. Oh well, look, when's it all taking place? So when should we get excited? When do we know when the songs are coming out? Do we know when the actual national final is?
As of recording, no and no.
Oh my God, this is so Greece. I love it.
All we know is that the songs are either they're going to come out sporadically or, hopefully all together, but not heard much. But when it came to the national final, it's meant to take place in February, and that's all we know so far.
Okay, well, something to get excited about. I'm excited already. Evangelia, not just for the title. She can take out all of Eurovision. You heard it here first. All right. Well, look, thanks for coming back on for the podcast, Kyriakos. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot from you throughout the season. And let's see what Greece can actually do.
Yeah, thank you for having me back, Dale. It's an absolute pleasure.
Well, that's it for another week. We will be back for the podcast next week, so tune in where we'll have things to talk about like the Malta national final and much, much more. Thanks very much, guys.